Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? Matthew, Tamin here. I hope that you guys can hear me nice and loud and clear. For those of you that are tuning in and those that are going to watch this later on, this is not going to be a long live, but I wanted to show you guys this because I love to do this live because I get to connect with you guys. So make sure that you're sharing this link with anyone that wants to add a podcast to their website. You know, one of the benefits of adding a podcast to your website is that you control the content. You know, a lot of times when you put your stuff in other platforms, they can take it down for any reason. Now, this here have the ability for you to be able to use to add to like the Apple, the Google, Spotify, all those other platforms. But for today, I want to show you just for those that are getting started. I get so many emails from beginners that are saying, Matthew, I'm just getting started. I have a Joomla website. I'm not a pro. How can I just add a podcast to my site? So if you've already recorded your podcast, that's great. This works too for any type of audio, not just a podcast, but if you have some audio that you want to share on your site, you can use this same process as well. So I'm not going to go through the process of you creating a podcast and then uploading it. You should already have a podcast that's already completed. So now what we're going to do now is I want to show you how you can be able to take what you've created and then put it on your website. So for this, we're going to be using an extension that is called for SEO. I mean for podcast. And I encourage you to go to this website, weebly.com, and download the extension. It's great quality. It works really well. So once you go on there, you can download it. And if you want to follow along, you can do that as well. So once you've already done so, what you want to do next is you want to go to the back end of your Joomla site. Again, I'm not going to show you how to install Joomla, how to do all those things. I just want to show you how to get this thing up and going. So this is utilizing Joomla 4, the latest version, which is 4.28. So make sure that you have Joomla already installed. Again, this course is the beginners. I have an intermediate and I have an advanced course that goes into a lot more details. So once you've done that, you go over, you log into your back end, and you click on your systems, and you go to where it says extensions. This is a plugin that once you install it, you can be able to start to use it right away. So let's click on extension. And then from here, you're going to click on your computer wherever you have it downloaded to, and you're going to go and grab that extension from there. So I already have it installed, but to show you how that works, you click onto browse, or you can search on your computer to go wherever you have it at. So let me just go ahead and browse, and then I'm just going to show you for package. So this is it right here, and then you click to open, and you give it a moment. It's going to get it installed. So now you've installed it. Everything is successful. So that's the first step, that you've done that. Now the next step that you want to do is you want to go over to content, and you want to create a new category. So the beautiful thing about this is that you can create as many categories as you need to. As I mentioned before, this is not just for podcasts. Okay, this is not just for podcasts. This goes for any type, whether you have a lot of music that you want to share, you have a lot of audio files that you want to share. So you can utilize this same method that I'm showing you for any type of audio that you want to share with your audience. Okay, so now we're going to go back here, and let's go over to category. So we're going to click a new category, and then we're going to call this one podcast Joomla, or whatever you want to name it. Okay, so once you've done that, you don't have to do anything else. You go to save and close. So now you've created a menu, a category that all your podcasts are going to be in here. Now the great thing about this is that you can have multiple categories. You can have as many categories as you need to, and you can upload as many podcasts within a category as you need to. So once you've done that, the next thing you want to do now is you want to go to create a new menu. So from here, you go to menu. I'm going to click to add one, and then we can call this one here podcast. And then you go to select. And you go to articles, category blog. Well, matter of fact, let's just do you can do the category list. So you can do the blog or the list. You see how that looks in the front end. And then you click to select. Now you want to select the new category that you just created. You click on podcast. And you don't have anything here yet. So let's click on save and close. So now the next step is done. You've created your category. You've created your menu. Now what you want to do is you want to be able to create fields. So you go back to here, to content, and you go to fields. You know, Joomla allows you to create multiple fields to collect different types of data. So you want to click on new. And then we're going to call this one here podcast Joomla. And click on this drop down. You should see where it says for podcast right here. So you click on for podcast. You click on that, and it's going to do its thing. And it's going to ask you to name whatever name that you want this to be. Okay, you can call this whatever name. Joomla podcast show. And then you can put in, you know, your URL, and then put in a description. This is my first podcast. And then you can select an image for the, you know, that you want to show. Now this is the iTunes categories. If you click on this drop down here, I'm not going to go through how to get it to iTunes and, you know, Spotify and some of those other places. This is just for your website. So you can leave it at that category. And when you upload an image, make sure that image is really great quality, like 1400 by 1400. It has to be a large and crisp image. So I'm going to click on select. I have something here. I'm just going to click on select. So now I have that. Now you see all this other content here, you know, show author. You can put the author name, the copyright. I'm not going to fill this out. You can if you want to. Again, this is personal preference. You can show all this information. You can scroll through here and whatever you need. Don't change anything, like with the play max width, just leave that. But for now, we're going to leave that just as it is. So we've created our first podcast, and you want to click the category here, and you want to assign this to this category. So the podcast category that we created. So once you've done that, you want to click on save and close. Now that you've clicked on save and close, the next thing that we want to do is you want to go over to media. You want to upload whatever content that you want on your site. Now I've already uploaded something here, but you can click to upload and then go on your computer or whatnot and find whatever that you want to upload. But I've uploaded just something simple here to show you. So I'm going to click this 3 dots, right? Now this is key. So I'm going to click this 3 dots and I'm going to get the link. Get the link. This is the link that I'm going to need to showcase the podcast on the website. Now, if you want to make sure that link is working, I'm just going to open another browser here. So I'm just going to open this. I'm going to copy and paste it so we can listen to it. You want to make sure you hear it. So it should play, you know, some music stuff that I created. But once you're able to hear that, then you're good to go. So now we're going to go back on the site. So click this 3 dots, you get this link, and then next thing you want to do is you want to go over to articles. You want to click on create. So we're going to call this is my first Joomla podcast. And then from here you want to choose where it says the category. Choose the podcast category. Now once you do that, you're going to get this option here. And that's pretty much the major thing that you have to do with it. So now you have the category selected. And let's click here on, let's click here to image and links. All right, so let's click and save and close. So now, before we actually see that, we have to connect the link. We have to connect the link to the podcast. So make sure that you're sharing this. Make sure you're sharing this link with a friend, sharing with someone that can be able to, to learn how to get that podcast up and going. So I'm just going to go right here. Let me check something. Okay, so one thing here. So once we have that there, then we go over to the fields. So you can add your audio title, podcast for Joomla. And then this is where you can put in the link that you copied. So this is where it's going to show you. So you click on preview. When you click on preview here, it's going to show you the podcast information right there. So it just shows you the duration of it. And you can preview, you can play it too to hear, make sure that's the right one. Just something short. Now the other stuff, description, you can change that. You can also include like an image. So I'm just going to click here. I already have one. Just going to add this. You scroll down. You don't have to worry much about these right here. So once you've done that, and then you click on save and close. So now we are going to take a look on the front end to see the menu we created. So let me go on the front end of the website. I'm going to refresh this. So now I have a menu called podcast, right? So when I click on this, let me go back here. Okay, so I connected it to a different stop. When you click here, this is what it's going to look like. So let me go back here. So you can connect this to a blog. You can connect it to a list. So let's go back to menu. We're going to go back here and go to the menu. You can always adjust these later too. So you click on podcast. You can have it as a list or you can have it as a blog. It's pretty much personal preference. So let's go to blog and then select, and we're going to select this category and then click on save and close. So now when I go to the front end of my site, I'm going to go back here and I click on podcast. Now you have, this is my first podcast. Now the great thing about this is that you can have this podcast, you can share it, right? So you can click this drop down. You can go 30 seconds up, 30 seconds back. You can time, plus we can speed it up. You can also do some customization, nice color in here. You can add the volume up and down, and you can also click to share it. So you want to share this with friends, you want to share it on Twitter, Facebook, even on WhatsApp, you can do that. Now, you can add as many podcasts as you want on your site. And you can also, this information here, you can also change that on the back end. But again, the goal for today is I wanted to just show you how to get started with it. A lot of people, Mathew, I want to put the podcast on there. This is again for beginners. I have an intermediate and advanced course that walks you through how to be able to incorporate it into different, to style it differently, to get the designs different. But I want to get you started here. So now that we have this, let us go back onto back here. So you want to create multiple. The way that you create multiple ones is this. Let's go back here to content. Let's go to articles. And you can just click here. Instead of recreating it over and over again, once you've recorded your podcast and you follow the steps that I just gave you, you would just need to change the link, for example. So let me say with this one here, I want to duplicate this, right? So I go to batch, and then I can keep, the same public, keep same access level, and I go to podcast, and I'm going to click to copy. This is how you create you duplicate stuff with Joomla 4. So I'm going to click on process. When I click on process, now I have a new name. If I wanted to add another podcast, what I would do in this instance is I would click on this, and I can just call this one my second Joomla podcast. And again, I can make sure this is published. I can leave it at the same category. I go to the fields. Whatever episode that I've already recorded, this is where it's important. Whatever episode I've recorded, I would just copy that link and paste that link here. Again, just follow the steps that I showed you. You paste that link right over here, and you can be able to have as many as you need to. So now that I've done that, let's click on save and close. And when you go to the front end of your site where all the podcasts has been located, you can just refresh this here. And now you have another one. So you can check on the front end, make sure that it's playing, and you can listen to it and make sure that it's working. And you can add as many podcasts as you need to. Now, I want you guys to go to the website, the Weebler for podcasts, and purchase the. It's really great. You can use it for podcasts. You can use it for music. You can use it to share audio files. So go on there and click to download the extension. Trust me, you're definitely going to be glad that you did. So that's pretty much, how you set up the podcast. Again, this is designed for beginners. I have another course, more advanced, that walks you through a lot more in terms of integration, because there are times when maybe you have a certain design that you want to integrate this to. You want to style it differently with a page builder. I have a course that teaches you how to do that. But if you're looking to just get this podcast simply on your site, this is not to use any other third party like, Google or iTunes or, anything like that. I received some of the emails from you guys. Matthew, I just want to get my first podcast on. I'm not a technical person. What do I need to do? So this right here walk you through everything that you need to do in order for you to get that going. So make sure you're sharing this link. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I'll get those answers for you. Thank you so much for watching, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.